Bienvenidos. Oh yes. Actually, this one's a lot of day 15 to 7 days in one, so 15 through 20, I believe, if I can count. Um, this is basically going to be talking about what I did during this whole past week and why I didn't post at all. Um, so they have this thing. It's called Trabajo de Invierno, which translates to winter work for all the gringos out there. Um, so what they do is they basically do a project to help uh, marginalized population. So in this case, it was immigrants. So what we did was we went over to a school in the poor part of Santiago, and then we built furniture for them. Um, but you can't use automatic, or excuse me, you can't use electric tools because that's cheating. So we used acoustic saws, hammers, screwdrivers, wood. Can't really have electric wood, but it was a lot of physical exertion that happened during it. Um, so yeah, here we go. This is day 15. So we arrived at the base, so to speak, around 3 o'clock. And of course, you can't start anything in a Catholic type thing without Mass. So that's exactly what happened. It feels like the new freshman orientation all over again, Ignatius. Um, but then, it actually wasn't a real Mass. They were just saying the Hail Mary every 5 seconds after every single, like the thing that's like, Lord, hear our prayer. They said Hail Mary and Our Father at the end of each one for some reason. And that added a bunch of stupid time. So, it was pretty long, ineffective, and didn't really contribute anything at all. I find it kind of stupid in retrospect and during it. Um, the neighborhood that we were in, I was actually surprised to find that it was a black neighborhood. So the people living here were African immigrants. Um, and while I've been here for the 2 weeks before this video, um, I could probably count on one hand how many black people I've seen. So that was very interesting to see a whole community of them. It's like, but the thing is, it's not the United States, so it's not like dangerous. It's like Austin neighborhood in Chicago minus the crime. Um, so that's pretty cool. Um, they live in, I wouldn't say a ghetto, but as in the physical building, not the area. Um, but like there was a bunch of rooms in a small area. Um, the place was outside technically because in the middle of it all, it was exposed to the elements. Um, so yeah, most rooms didn't have doorknobs, so it was kind of hard opening a door. One time I closed it by accident and it took me maybe 5 to 6 minutes to figure out how to open it because only the metal part that attached it to the locking mechanism was still functional. So yeah, I figured that one out after a good struggle. Um, so yeah, we're building furniture. They call them muebles in Spanish. Um, ours, the design was kind of dumb, but I didn't really have any power to do anything because it's kind of like sophomore retreat. How there was a group, and then there's a group leader with it, and the group leader, basically guides you through the whole experience. That's what happened. And additionally, I was an exchange student, so I was extra marginalized, not in like a racist or economic way, but because I didn't speak Spanish that well, and because I don't speak Spanish, I don't have any agency in what I want to do, and how we should do it, and how to be effective in doing it. So that was something. Um, and then we stayed in this school called San Alberto, and it was stupid. I'm gonna be honest, it was stupid. I didn't like it. Um, they had we slept in classrooms. There were like 20 people to a room. We had sleeping bags, and since it's winter here, it was extremely cold, and by extremely cold I mean it's like 40 to 50 degrees. But note that you're sleeping in that weather, so you're sitting still for several hours. Um, that's not cool. They're also extremely dirty. Like their garbage cans were buckets. They actually, I'll get to the hygiene a little later. Yeah, the area in which we stayed was garbage, and we stayed there for about, I'd say, 50% of the time. The other 50% we were working. Um, it's like, or I write notes so I don't forget anything. Um, and I write confusing notes sometimes. Um, so right here I put retreat but longer because really that's what it was. Um, like they call it trabajo de invierno, like winter work. Like you would think that the whole experience is about working, but nope, it's a Catholic and Jesuit experience. So you're gonna be fulfilling the AMDG through working, praying a lot, doing a bunch of activities for Jesus, for God, for glory to the Father, to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit. And I'm not Catholic, so it's like cool, but wasting a bunch of my time. That's what happened. The topics covered during the retreat were the exact same as the ones that we've covered during sophomore and junior retreat as well. So it's not like anything new was learned, no new insight or anything. It's helping people. So I felt like the whole thing was a sunk cost. And by a sunk cost is an economic term that means money that you put in that you can't get out. And the money that I put in was money towards the retreat, because guess what? It costed money. It cost $70 to live in shitty conditions with subpar food in a dirty environment, working with a religious undertone and overtone too. Um, so, yeah, I felt like I wasn't getting anything out of it because I just really wasn't. Um, and the dumbest part of this day, as in something that's not a recurring theme that I'm going to be talking about very shortly, is that on this day we had dinner in the school. Every other day we had dinner in the places we were working at to build the furniture. And it was like 9 o'clock, and they were like, someone asked if we're gonna eat soon, and they're like, "Es muy temprano para cena." Like 9 o'clock is too early for dinner. Okay, that was very interesting. The part that I said I was about to talk about, here it is. This is the first time I've ever felt genuinely frustrated about anything ever, because just the circumstances of it, me being an exchange student and on a retreat for something I don't want to do, for something that I have to pay to do, for something that I'm not getting anything out of. It's not helping me, and it's not helping my Spanish either, because it's not like there's just not much to. There was not much to do, and there is not much to get from it. So yeah, it just kind of felt like a waste of time from there. On this day, day 15, I was just extremely irritable because they were playing a game of charades, but I didn't understand anything because it was all in Spanish. And since it's Chile, they have like their own unique twist on the Spanish. The Spanish that they teach us in school is Mexicano Español, Mexican Spanish, and it's very different. Chilean Spanish is garbage. They don't pronounce the S, and they speak very quickly. So the words are all jumbled, and that's very annoying. So in the charades game, they kept mentioning people, mentioning stuff, and esoteric references. So didn't understand anything. So I'm not from Chile. So and they played charades for like 90 minutes, and I had no other option but just to sit there and pretend to enjoy it. But I did not enjoy it because I didn't understand anything. That was extremely frustrating. I would say that that's probably the hardest part about being in a country where they speak a language that you don't completely understand. And I was extremely irritable, but I'm also really passive aggressive, so I just passive actually. So I didn't say anything, just getting through the day. we're gonna be honest, I definitely cried this day, and it was also noticeable because people were like asking, they're like, "Estás bien? Estás bien? Estás bien? Estás bien?" like 10 times every 2 minutes. I said, "See," of course I was lying, and they might have known I wasn't telling the truth too, but that's not the kind of thing that you challenge. Um, that was very annoying. Just the questions. And then this day, I don't know why. This is probably the part that made me cry in the first place. Um, I wanted some juice, right, with dinner. But then my host is like, he's like, just get water. I'm like, I want juice. He's like, just get water. And then he makes for some reason. Uh, Not sure if he was looking out for me or because he just didn't want me to have juice for some reason. Um, so then I have to get water. I didn't want water. I wanted juice because it was like a pineapple juice or something. Good stuff. Um, and I couldn't, and that set me off inside. I didn't show anything outside because can't express myself in Spanish because no one will understand me because can't. There's a lot of words that I don't know how to say, and they speak in such a different way than what I learned that it's kind of hard to convey my frustration and my emotions. That was very frustrating. This whole thing was very frustrating. That's the number one recurring theme um, that happens here. So that's day one and the overview of the experience. Day two, or day 16 of the Vida en Chile. This day was also frustrating, but less frustrating because it's the second day, so people are gonna be nice to me. The exchange student. I need water. So what happened today for the I'll start with the not frustrating part and then get there. Um, so I put Bob the Builder. Because I was using a saw, right? But the saw was actual garbage. So it was cutting through a piece of wood, I'd say about 1.5 centimeters thick, for maybe a straight hour. I probably got about a third of the way through by the time I was done sawing. So I sawed for a straight hour and a half with that thick wood. That was very annoying because it's like the same motion that you do for push-ups. But with more weight on it and more pain associated with it. So yeah, that was kind of dumb. And then for breakfast, it was the same breakfast every day, but with a different type of I'll get to a different type of thing. So this day it was some paste. I forget what it's called, but it was bologna paste. Like, what the fuck is bologna paste in the first place? So that was stupid, disgusting actually. But I ate it because I was hungry, and they didn't have. Excuse me. I was always last in line because of where our group sat. So by the time that I got to the area with food, because it was like a serving line, they ran out of just regular bread, so I had to take that bologna paste stuff and strawberry. It was strawberry hot chocolate. That was interesting. Another what the fuck moment because it's not hard to get random stuff. But the stuff was like boiling when I got it, so it actually melted part of the plastic cup that I had. And speaking of the plastic cup that I had, for the retreat, you had to bring your own utensils. And I feel like this was one of the dumbest parts of the whole retreat. They couldn't provide you with plates and cups in a school. Even Ignatius can do that, even if they're just plastic, non-reusable ones. So everyone had to bring their own plate/bowl and utensils too. I just found this extremely dumb, just for the nature of having to bring your own. And so, yeah, that was very interesting and stupid. So to the more frustrating part, because that actually one more thing. When I was working, I hit my hand against the blunt side of a saw. It was like this is the saw. It was like, and then it hurt. And then I looked at my hand and I burst an artery in my hand. Um, it hurt a little bit. It really wasn't bad. Um, but yeah, I burst an artery. You can tell it wasn't a vein because I can still see the vein just fine, but can't see the artery. But I see internal bleeding, so there was like no blood outside of it. But I digress. To the more frustrating part of this day, what happened was during lunchtime, it was like mashed potatoes and hot dog, which they call completos, like completed hot dog completed. It's Chile. I'm not gonna criticize for having their own spin on words. So what happened was I finished my food, right, and then I went up to get seconds because my host asked me if I wanted more, and I was like, well, yeah, I want more, and they had a lot of extra. So I go up there, and the people serving, they're like, you have to wait for us to call seconds. And then I'm like, but my host just said I can go up for seconds. And then he's like, just wait for us to call it. So I go sit down. I know when I don't get my food, right? Because, I was just told I can go up and get it. And then literally maybe a minute after I sat down with nothing in my bowl, they call seconds. And that was literally the fucking stupidest fucking thing that's ever fucking happened. Cause like, if they're gonna wait a whole minute, 60 seconds, which is not a long time to call seconds, they might as well have just started then. Cause I was ready to get my food, and there were probably other people who were waiting too, but just didn't go up because they didn't want to be that guy. So yeah, I voluntarily chose not to get seconds after that one because I was just so frustrated with that. And then the people who were serving, they're like, you don't want any seconds? I'm like, no. And they're like, why not? I'm like, I just don't want seconds anymore. They didn't say the real reason was because they're fucking idiots. But c'est la vie. That was extremely frustrating. But the dinner was very good. It was like rice and hot dogs. Completos, excuse me. Pardon my wrong terminology. And had 4 bowls of that. That was pretty good. And then later, during bedtime, they have this meme with this kid whose name is Cepeda. That they call him Sepagame, which is not important. But then they have this meme that's like, Sepagan muestra pico, and pico is penis. So they want him to show his penis, basically. And he did. And everyone's like, yeah, I didn't look because I don't think I need to explain why I didn't look. So that was that, and that was really weird. But then it got even stupider because what happened was the kids were like, because the kids look at memes too, and they're like, Jesse probably has a big dick, and that was the stupidest thing ever. I was on my phone, but I didn't say anything during when I was in the room with 20 other people. They're like, Jesse probably has a big dick, he's black. And they're like, Jesse muestra pico, and I was very interesting, very stupid, and yeah, that wasn't frustrating, it was just stupid. But the frustrating part was really got me on this day 2. So that's day 2. Day 3. So this day we do the normal routine, which is wake up, get breakfast, have a small group meeting about Jesus, and then get our materials and go to work. But this day we had to get a new piece of wood. Oh yeah. This whole day was just frustration times 10. Probably one of the worst days. So basically what happened was it rained the previous day, and the combination of the rain and the fact that we had terrible wood, like only our group had terrible wood, it split right down the middle. So most of the wood that we had cut for the previous day, which was about 9 to 10 hours of work, just gone. That was extremely frustrating. It basically just took away an entire day. So we had, instead of 5 days, we had 4 days to finish 2 things of furniture. But also there were solutions to the wood. We could just put screws in it, but that sounds too smart. So we lost a bunch of time that we didn't need to lose there. Secondly, when we were carrying new wood back and the wood we already cut that wasn't messed up, they decided that since I'm the strongest person in the group, I should carry the heaviest piece of wood by myself, or with one other person, and that they should use two people who are slightly less strong to carry something that weighs way less, which is just wrong because one, it puts much more weight on me, or a higher proportion of weight that I don't want to carry. And then the people who are carrying the thing that weighs less than 2 times what my thing weighed did that. Instead, I said I should just get the smaller one by myself, and then the 3 of them could take on the bigger one. But no, that's too smart. So that happened, and the place we had to walk through from the school, I'd say, is about 3 to 4 blocks away. So yeah, my hands were dying at the time, and I didn't bring gloves either, so my hands were cold the entire time. So yeah, that was that was a little rough. And then the next frustrating thing that happened, because this is just this stage is a tale of frustration. I structured wood. Excuse me, I said that stupidly. Basically, I was the main cutter in our group of 7 people, including the mentor, and I was the main one who did cutting. So basically, I had the wood stand up. People would hold the wood, and then I cut like that. But then as it got lower, it would start hurting my back. So instead, I would put it on like a couple logs instead, and start cutting it horizontally. So that was it was a good plan. It was useful. But then what happened was, after I got to the point where I wanted to put it on the table, and I did put it on the table, I took a short break for about 3 to 4 minutes because hands need a rest too. And so with that, someone else picked up the saw and started cutting from the other side. And this wouldn't be a problem, except that they don't know how to stay in the fucking lines. I should give them a coloring book to help them, because it was so stupid. The piece of wood that I was cutting probably takes about 2.5 hours to cut, and since they went off the line for a lot of it, I had to probably spend an extra 90 minutes cutting that piece of wood, and that was stupid. That was frustrating. Makes me upset just thinking about it. And then the lunch today, or that day, was really good. It was like pasta and cheese with a bunch of vegetables and stuff. It was good stuff. But then the dinner was the opposite story. It was terrible. It was actually terrible because of me, not for any other reason. Because I had food poisoning when I was like 5 or 6 with zucchini, which is squash. So I literally can't eat that shit anymore. And then the whole soup was zucchini squash. So that was terrible. Couldn't eat anything. So I was feeling like a bitch the whole time from like 7 till when I went to bed. And one of the teachers on the retreat were like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "No." I'm like, "What?" And they're like, "Why not?" I said, "Because I didn't eat." They're like, "Why didn't you eat?" I'm like, "Because I can't eat zucchini." But I didn't know how to say that because I didn't know how to say poison. So she made me 2 sandwiches with Nutella, and that was pretty good. That made up for the terrible dinner, but I had to wait like 3 hours for that, and that was something. The amount of time I spent on my feet that day was probably close to 10 hours, which is a lot more than I'm used to. So yeah, my feet were hurting, and that's also a recurring thing, just a pain from working. But it's for the purpose of helping people, so necessary pain. This day we almost finished one, so that was pretty good. Felt pretty good about almost finishing the piece of wood that the furniture that we were working on. It was like a cabinet / table. Ruptured another artery in the same hand, in the same place actually, same place but different artery, going to a different finger, and that was very interesting because repeat. Um, and